Hey guys, welcome back. Episode 85, Two Tamers Talk. I can't believe this. Episode 80, doesn't that just seem like a lot?
Yeah. It's a lot. And we're consistently getting a lot of views, so people clearly love them.
Yeah, clearly. So I'm very excited. This is actually a combination. This is going to be our mom's favorite episode. So, this is my younger brother, Jacob. And shout out to Jesse. He was the one who said, you know what combination we have not done as a podcast yet? The two of us.
It's funny because, we obviously are going to have decent synergy, but at the same time, I'm curious how much our opinions are going to overlap.
Yeah.
So maybe there's not going to be enough diversity. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So as always, this channel has just been growing so much. I love the direction this is going. We have an outstanding crew. Honestly, this channel would not be where it's at if it was only one person to do everything. So having this large team, shout outs to everybody who contributes to the channel, who's on these podcasts. We love doing all of these like unique pairings, perspectives, combinations. So with that being said, jump in the comments. If there is a specific combo of two tamers that you like to hear talk more than others, if you don't want me on here anymore, let me know in the comments below. Obviously, you guys aren't going to say that you love me too much. But I also want to shout out the fans because we hit 3K subscribers.
Oh, yeah.
Jesse and Basil covered that last week, but I am personally super excited about it. So to celebrate 3K subscribers, I have been buying one person's entry at locals on Wednesdays. This will be my third week of doing it to kind of celebrate. I'll probably do it 2 months total, kind of like a give back to the community. Obviously, that's not very big compared to what we could do, but honestly, 3K subscribers just happened so fast we didn't have a time to plan a lot.
I know. It feels like just maybe like it was so recent we hit 2.
I remember hitting 1. Remember we were all down at that Mox Valley Games tournament. And not only that, it's not like we're hitting a ceiling where it stops, right? We're at 3.07K, which means an additional 70 people have subscribed since that 3,000 mark.
Every week,
so
a little more.
Huge shout out to the fans. Seriously, we cannot thank you enough. I appreciate it. This week, I'm buying Ryan's entry. It's his birthday this week. Ryan, I know you told me the day. I'm horrible at that type of memory, so forgive me in advance. I don't remember the exact day. But if you guys want to go back to the Pawn Chessmon video, jump in the comments, say happy birthday to him, or hit him up on Discord. Super excited about that. You know what else I'm excited about?
What's that?
Discord.
Yeah.
Jacob, what did you do?
Well, a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago at this point, I was driving home from work and I was like, why don't we have a Discord? And I was like, we just hit 3,000 subscribers. That's a big number. If we can get 3,000 people, we can start a whole community and, talk about decks. We can, Q&A stuff, whatever we want to do. So I made a Discord. Link should be in the description. Please join. Let us know what you like about our channel. It's a great way to reach all of us or just, reach out to your fellow fans and the whole community.
Yeah, no, so awesome idea that you had that. And just a quick little lore update for everybody. When we started this channel, we were known as Wayward City Games. That is because we had a really close partnership, and we still do. Nothing. In fact, that partnership's probably gotten stronger with our local card game scene, where you and I frequent quite often. And we decided to split off and just kind of focus just on Digimon instead of trying to do like every card game like we were originally trying. And we kept using their Discord. Yep. And we are encouraging people, if you want to stay in that Discord and use it, we're still there. We're not leaving that Discord. You can still use it as you have been, play some games, especially if you want to talk to the awesome owners of the card game shop, Joe and Logan. Shout out to you guys. You guys probably don't get enough love as it is. So we're super grateful for the awesome community you guys have built at Wayward City Games. But yeah, I'm super excited about this Discord. It's a great time. So with that being said, it's still new, relatively. We, like I said, maybe a week now. It's week anniversary of it. So we're still working on specific sections. And Jacob, I had an idea. I was driving home from our last locals, and I came up with this.
What you got?
I love watching podcasts and like live Q&As of people when they do that. And I want to do that. I want to add a new section to our podcast if everybody wants to, if everybody, likes that. Maybe on the Discord, make a section, Two Tamers Talk Q&A. And, every week we'll just pick a couple questions or good topics to talk about and answer fan questions directly through that podcast compared to, getting to it later on the YouTube comments. Obviously, feel free to stay, commenting on that particular video. We'll still answer questions. We're still going to be just as active everywhere. We just want to make things, easier. I don't know. I like adding new sections to this podcast.
That's a good idea. Yeah, we'll definitely, I'll get a section added. And just if you have any questions you want to put in there, it can be anything from what's your favorite color, what's your favorite Digimon, to who do you think wins this matchup, or
Yeah.
something like that. So we'll get one of those put in there, and we'll try to get a couple questions a week answered.
Sure. So I'm super excited about that. Hopefully, I mean, I haven't really talked to Basil and Jesse about that, so hopefully they like that idea too. But I'm a big fan of that. I think Jesse likes that, but I think Basil would like that too, right?
I think
He likes
so. I
answering
think
questions.
Basil really likes the community involvement we're starting to
Oh,
get.
I do. We all do.
And that's another thing that I think this Discord is going to be really good for, is us reaching out to you guys and you reaching out to us and reaching out to each other.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, it's not just for getting a hold of us too. I mean, if you want to just hop in there, ping the channel, look for a game. There's some tables in there. You guys can play whatever you want to do. So this is a community channel, not just a DGS channel. We're just kind of hosting it.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome too. And I really like you added the section for deck requests. That's awesome, because a lot of times it's hard for me, you know, with my brain to like pick one direction and go that way when, you know, maybe that's not what the fans are after. We want to give you guys what you want as far as deck requests, you know, just like deck building tips, all that stuff. Go play around in that section. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's something like added, if something you don't like, because Jacob here is a Discord master running all that stuff. So again, huge shout out to you, Jacob. Thank you so much for that. Man, it's fun to do this episode with you. I'm super excited about this. I can't believe it took 85 episodes for you and I to be paired together. So
we just didn't think of it.
Just didn't think of it. It's so funny. But so besides having, you know, you making us a brand new Discord, there's another reason that I'm sure Jesse thought of when he recommended this pair. And if it is what I think it is, it's because you've been playing in online tournaments like every weekend. Every weekend, I'm like kind of trying to knock on your door on Saturdays, like, come on, can Jacob come out to play or whatever? You want to be my and you're playing in these big online tournaments. So what has sparked this like resurgence in you to just dive deeply into Digimon? You know?
I mean, you know, I've always been a card game player. I like playing at a competitive level. And just kind of getting back into that, I feel like I just took a little bit too long of a break after that big regionals we went to.
Sure.
Followed by nationals. And I mean, after nationals, I was kind of beat down a little bit. I'm not going to lie. So I took a little bit of a break. We're getting back into it.
Yeah.
I've done last 2 or 3 weekends. Yeah, we've had regionals, ultimate cups, stuff like that. And it's been a lot of fun getting back into these more competitive scenes.
Yeah. So, I mean, does it feel good? Do you feel positive about it? Like, have you learned any new tricks? Or, I mean, I always think, you know, the higher level of competition that you have, where you put yourself into those situations, you're going to come out a better player. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So is there anything specific you'd like to shout out? Guard, I know I'm putting you on the spot. I apologize.
A lot of these ones, because they've been Discord tournaments, a lot of it for me is kind of still getting used to that, because the first time I did an online tournament like this on Discord, for some reason there was just this huge disconnect in my brain of like...
Because you're not sitting across the table.
Well, yeah, I think that's part of it. Because, like, you know, you sit there, you watch the screen, your opponent does their turn, and then you go to your turn, you draw your hand, you look down, and it's like I sit in the same exact seat to just kind of like goldfish my deck, dry run it, see if it even works.
Sure.
So now, I don't know. I guess sometimes I just forget what's on board on the opponents. I mean, even just this last weekend, I had this misplay where for like an entire he digivolved ruin mode to pass turn, and I just forgot it was there. So I played something, and then I looked up and I see the ruin mode on the monitor. I'm like, that's dead.
Yeah.
So that was a good learning experience. Just,
I always
look at the monitor.
I always feel like I have a hard time with the online events. Having, you know, it's funny because it's not like I feel like I'm disconnected from the person, because I've never really played against a bad person or had a bad, you know, it's not like I needed that connection. But when you're playing at locals, when you're sitting across the table from someone, you have that extra advantage of being able to look at your hand and look at the opponent's board state and kind of their reactions at the same time.
And another thing I really think is like being able to look at your opponent's trash is a tool that you always have. But doing it over webcam, they start kind of fishing it out. And if you say, hey, wait, go back, what was that card? Then they now know what you're looking for. I mean, you're trying to keep track of certain pieces. You don't want them necessarily just knowing what you're looking for, you know? Like in the last regionals I did, 2 regionals ago or whatever it was, I was playing against a Beelstar player, and he starts looking at like how many 3 Muskin options. He's showing me all those. I was like, that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah. But now he knows what.
But now he knows that you're not looking for that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, it's always an interesting. So advice for the players that are practicing, you know, to play in an online event, what I highly recommend you do is get a friend of yours and practice online events and kind of get used to that. You know, if there's a way you can position your monitor or whatever you're using
Yeah.
to look at your opponent's stuff,
I
take
don't
advantage
know
of
what
that.
it is, but as soon as I sit in front of a webcam instead of a person, I lose like half my brain. I don't know why.
Yeah, I feel that too. And I feel like part of it comes from the fact that I have my hand and I can like shuffle through my hand, look at my hand properly. Well, at the same
Yeah,
time,
but on the Discord, you're like kind of holding it on the table, like, all right,
Yes.
what do I got? Leaning back so that
yeah, because you don't want to cheat.
camera.
You don't want to
Yeah,
cheat. You don't want your opponent to be like, wait, how many cards do you have in hand? Where is your
been
hand?
A lot of opponents where I'm not trying to catch a glimpse of their hand, but with how they're holding it, sometimes it's kind of hard not to
Yeah,
see some of the cards in their hand without
sure.
completely looking away. And then if I completely look away, I have no idea what's going on. Or if they,
You look away, you miss that ruin mode.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, not
So-
saying that's why that
so,
happened, but
warning, if you're playing online events, be cautious about your hand because I'm not trying to look, but I'll catch a flash of a ruin mode and my plan might change.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean,
or if you see that ace card, obviously we're not encouraging cheating on this
No,
channel.
no,
We're
this-
not
but-
telling anybody to do that. We're not saying, but it happens, right? You know,
sometimes there's just no way not like if your opponent drops a card in front of you on accident from their hand and then picks it back up, you saw the card.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's at that point your game plan's changed, and I mean it's on them. But so
Yeah.
it's one of those feels bad, but I'm not cheating using the knowledge
Yeah.
that you just provided me. But at the same time, I like that's why like I really try not to look at people's hands. But I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but so many people showed way too much of their hand on their
Yeah.
screen, and especially when I'm at like. If I'm at like X2 at this point and I see this, I'm like, well, that's probably why this guy's also X2.
sure.
That because I mean, some of these are great players, have
Yeah.
great decks, but they're X2, and they might be curious why. And for some of you, I'm sure your opponents are not as honorable at looking away when you're showing
When
your
you're
hand.
actually flashing the hand,
So-
right? No, I think that's a great
Yeah.
point, and that's another thing when you're playing in person with somebody, especially when you go to a big event, right? Is, like for me, I'm always trying to make sure my opponent knows that I'm not cheating. I've never been
same.
accused of that. I think everyone knows that I'm, a pretty honest guy and I like to play card games and luck is part of it and I enjoy that aspect, right? And sometimes being able to guess what your opponent has is part of the fun. Like, okay, they're playing this deck. They probably have this line. They set up this in the raising. I might be able to predict, but I don't want to know. I don't want to see your hand,
yeah.
So like when I'm playing in person, I don't have to worry about putting my hand on the play mat directly in front of the webcam so that way they can see exactly how many cards I have so they know I'm not pulling a transcendent sword like way back in the day or playing a fifth mat like all the famous accusations, that have happened in the past,
and
right?
I have yet to catch somebody cheating. I don't know if anyone's ever done it against me.
Sure.
If you guys did and got away with it, shame on you, but good for you. I don't know.
Yeah, it means
But,
you're doing a good job of it, right?
Yeah, I haven't caught anyone cheating yet.
Sure.
So, I mean, unless it's like, a rules play that, those ones happen, it's mistakes.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anyone, add a card to deck or play 5 copies yet.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I mean, most of the time, I go into things thinking the best of people, that people are there not to cheat, that they're there to win through their hard work, through the amount of practice that they put into the constructive deck building, whether it's working as a team, a friend group, whatever. So, just things to keep in mind when you are playing these online events, and I'm really glad that you could share that insight with us. So have you been playing the same deck for all of these online events, or what have you been playing?
So, like 2 times ago when it was the Ultimate Cup that was in a Apocalypse format, I had the fantastic idea to play Minerva Loop because it's my favorite deck, and I was just kind of throwing it because I didn't want to play against Apocalypse all day. I don't remember my exact record, but it was like X3, X4 kind of thing. I had a lot of weird matchups. I actually dodged Apocalypse that entire day, which was weird.
Hey, you got rewarded then.
Yeah, but I lost some other things
Sure.
because it was first time I played the deck in a while. But that was obviously a while back. More recently, I took Fenrir
Yeah.
to the last regional that was on Discord 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 by the time this airs. I'm not
Sure,
off the top of my head. And it was another one of those. It was like I would win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So like round 1, I played against a Gallant player at table 1, which was just random RNG, and I won that. And then I played against like Numemon, red hybrid,
Ugh.
and I was like I would win one, lose one of each of those matchups.
So it wasn't even like a coin flip matchup, right? Where you couldn't necessarily feel like
I
your
mean,
deck wasn't constructed for the matchups, but
I'm sorry to the Fenrir players out there. I'm one of you. Fenrir is just a coin flip deck. It really is. I mean, if you get the God Hand, you win. If you
Yeah.
don't, maybe you can squeeze it out.
Yeah.
But against things like red hybrids and Numemon, if you're a turn or two slow, you're dead. It's
Sure.
that simple.
Sure.
So Fenrir's getting more cards. Maybe it gets better, and it's not a bad deck. It's just one that is not the most consistent on its wins.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this about Fenrir since the deck kind of existed. Is a lot of its wins are kind of by volume.
You gotcha.
Because of just the luck aspect that goes
So
into it.
for those of you who don't know what that term means, how would you describe? What would you mean?
3 are in top 8 because 800 people played it. I mean,
I see. I gotcha. Okay.
Obviously, like that's an exaggeration, but
Yeah.
the deck's a good deck, and the pilots who can play it well do well, and it's a lot. The deck with the perfect hand, the deck can almost play itself, and you get the win. With a bad hand, you really got to know your lines and what you're doing with the deck and what your opponent's going to do. And there is a lot of skill in Fenrir
So with Fenrir, it's almost
playing from behind.
with Fenrir, you
or-
don't have to practice winning. You have to practice how to get out
yes,
of bad hands.
absolutely, yeah. How to get out of
Gotcha,
bad
gotcha.
because your line to win's the same every time.
Yeah.
It's how do you get to that line the most efficiently and consistently.
Sure.
And sometimes, no matter what you do, you just don't find EG.
Yep.
It happens. And
That's
if
what
that
happens in a
you
deck
probably
with
lose.
4 Tamers, right? You have to run 4,
Yep.
and then sometimes you just don't get them.
Well, we're getting another EG.
That will
It's the
definitely
same
help.
card.
That will definitely help.
But yeah, so that was my experience on Fenrir. Good luck, bad luck kind of day.
So with those 2 previous deck choices, is that what led you to? Because you just played in this Ultimate Cup that we
Yeah.
just had.
So this Ultimate Cup we just had, I ended up playing Belphamon.
Is that because you didn't trust Fenrir, or was there a specific reason that you decided to play Belf?
A little bit of both. So Fenrir, like I said, a lot of variance to that deck. There's a lot of variance in Digimon as a card game compared to other card games.
Yeah.
I play a lot of card games. Digimon's probably the highest variance one I play.
Okay.
Fenrir is even more so on that side. You can still get wins even from behind or with bad hands,
Yeah.
but just the consistency is not great compared to things like, I don't know, Mirage, Numemon, where it's just any level 3 wins me the game kind of thing. But what really happened was I've always loved Belphamon, as you know, since its release. I took it to that big first in-person regional we had and got, 34th
You
with
were
it or
killing it
something.
too, because I remember it was like the first 5 rounds you were
Yeah, yeah,
undefeated, and we were just all sitting here like, Jacob's gonna be the one. He's got this.
Yeah,
you know?
but we didn't. Well, we bubbled out of top 32 that day playing Belf. And
Yeah.
then after that, I just kind of took a break from the deck because I was grinding it so hard in preparation beforehand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then by the time I was kind of like, I kind of want to play Belf again, we got the Eismon ban.
sure.
So I just could not find a good way to play it until recently we got that new Raremon. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't even read this card. I didn't even like
Because you
I have
thought it
no
was
idea
like
what
for
it did.
Machine Ramon, or you
Yeah,
watched
well,
my Raidenmon video.
everyone said, "Oh, this is a great card for Machine." I'm like, okay, well then I don't need to read it. But then Basil, shout out Basil, and he and I are gonna be talking about this deck profile real soon, so stay tuned. But Basil sent me a list at one point. He's like, "This deck is insane," and I'm like looking at this list, and I see Belphamon. I'm like, okay,
Sure.
okay. And I see Ukomon. I'm like, that makes sense.
You're
yeah.
like, okay, best cards.
I'm like, but without Eismon, you can't fill your hand in trash the way you want to. And then I see
Gotcha.
the Raremon. I'm like, all right, now I got to read what this card does. And it's just 4 cost on play when Digivolving.
it's a really
pitch
good
2,
card. There's
pitch
a
1,
reason
draw
why
2.
it's been shooting up in price, right? Because
Oh,
it goes
that-
in a lot
yeah.
of decks.
That card is insane value. If you got them, good on you, stonks. If not, get them now because they're either going to keep going up or they're going to get a reprint.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's the latter.
Hopefully it's a
but
reprint, because I don't want anybody to be priced out of
Yeah,
this game
yeah.
to play the decks that they want to play. But
That's definitely something that this deck is typically pretty budget friendly.
Sure.
But if they keep doing these promos that are really good, like this one and Saber, we'll see what happens.
Sure.
But yeah, so looking at the list, I put it together exactly how Basil had it, played it at one of our locals, made a couple tweaks, and brought it to that Ultimate Cup. And I had actually a pretty decent run with it.
yeah,
We can go ahead and talk about this. My round 1, I was playing Belf. My opponent was playing Shine Gray.
okay,
He's a streamer. Shout out to him. His name was Andrew Salter.
Oh.
He has a Twitch channel. He was streaming on there. So shout out. Great opponent. He was playing Shine Gray. It's a matchup I know really well.
yeah.
I've
Because you've had a
played-
lot of practice.
Played a
against Shine
lot
Gray.
of Belf into Shine Gray,
Yep,
and I
yep.
don't think his Shine Gray has played nearly as much Belf. So
Sure. I mean, maybe he wasn't
um,
even expecting Belf, because Basil's been
Yeah.
talking about this where old decks are becoming good.
Belphamon is kind of a sleeper pick right now. Nobody was
That was
ready
a bad
for
pun.
it. They weren't expecting that. I didn't even catch that. No, good. I like it. Yeah. No, but real talk. It's people aren't expecting it. Some people forgot what it did or never knew.
Sure.
And it's a very powerful deck. And if you get the right opener, I mean, you're threatening turn 3 win at, on a good day. So, I got for round 1, 2-0 against Shine. A lot of good back and forth, but you just, you can't answer sleep mode once it's out.
Yeah, it's hard.
And I think maybe if you had more practice on the matchup, it could have been a little tougher for me. But, I mean, sometimes you just...
Definitely think you had the matchup advantage for sure on that, too. So, shout out to you, man.
Yep.
Thanks for streaming Jacob's match here.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of your fans come over here, and hopefully some of our fans go over there.
And let's see. Round 2 was against...
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah,
you don't have your notebook. You don't have...
Yeah, I forgot round 2 off the top of my head. It was another I won 2-0. It was not an off-meta deck. Here, you know what? I got it on my notes somewhere. I'll find it in a little bit.
I'm noticing a trend, though. Right?
Yeah.
You've been playing all purple at these events, so don't worry. Basil's gone. We can talk about how much we like purple because we are purple players. We love purple. So
well, I love combo decks. I like control decks, and Belf is a fantastic combo control.
Yeah,
and that's kind of one of my favorite styles. But purple is just the default combo color.
It's such a fun color.
It's fun to play, guys. I know Basil hates it. It's because he's
jealous. Not here. He's away. We can talk all much.
He's just jealous that we get to draw cards. That's really all it is. But,
that does happen.
All right, so round 3. I can't remember that one either.
I was trying to talk so you could pull out your notes in case you wanted to. That's why I was doing this. But I mean, purple's such a fun color. I mean, the fact that the meta has shifted from we had, that Belphemon when we went down to that event, and then you had the Anubis, then you had the Ultimate Cup with the Apoclymon. Obviously, that wasn't pure purple because there are a lot of the Dark Masters that are different colors, but it has a lot of purple type shenanigans. And so, purple's going to be here for a while. It's a good place to be. The Demon Lord deck is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know, and it's just I'm excited for that. Did you get it?
Almost. Sorry.
Almost. What do you got, like a secret lock on there to get to your notes? You don't
want
to let the opponents know when you're streaming?
All right. Scrolled way too far.
You still don't have it?
Nah, I can't find it.
Man, that's funny. That's funny.
It'll come back to me at some point. I'll just yell it out randomly. But anyway, first 3 rounds, I went 2-0. Didn't lose a single game.
I remember hitting you up like right after round 3. And you were like, yeah, I'm 3-0. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, again, same feeling we had last time.
Round 3, I'm sorry. I remember round 3. Round 3 was Mirage.
Which,
another example of, I know the matchup. I don't know if my opponent did.
Sure.
I hate Belf into Mirage. And Mirage hates going into Belf. It is terrible time for both players because Belf wants to be at 5 or fewer cards or 6 or fewer. And Mirage wants you at 8 or more.
Sure.
And you end up at like 7. And nobody gets to do what they want until somebody gets lucky or, the opponent doesn't have an answer for something. So that was my round 3, which is funny because we had 2 guys who were playing Mirage. They had mirror matches that round. Basil played against a Mirage that round. Everyone played against Mirage round 3. It was crazy. Yeah. I still don't remember round 2. We'll get back to that. Moving on, round 4,
yes,
I played against Yellow Vaccines. This is actually the player who took first this day.
And we will talk about his list here in a sec.
Obviously, I lost this round. I can't feel too bad. Game 1 was pretty good, a lot of back and forth. Game 2, I choose to go first, and I have the entire play-by-play of this memorized because it's just this crazy. So we'll kind of mention it when we kind of pull up his list. But basically what I did was I opened Hatch Uko into 4-cost starter Matt, which is not it's not the best play for Belf, but it's one of the stronger turn 1s for Belf.
Sure.
You give your opponent 4, but it's a good setup turn, right? So I feel pretty confident with this turn 1 9 times out of 10. My opponent hatches, and he digivolves the Patamon in the Raising, the one that gets the free Evo later on.
Sure.
And then he plays Magna Anja for 4, recovers 1, so he's at 0 now.
Yep.
Digivolves into the level 6, was it Mitamon?
Yeah, that dragon. I'm horrible at pronouncing
the yellow
Mitamon.
vaccine, Mitamon, or whatever it is. Trashes that security he just recovered, plays out a Rapidmon, the blocker one that can -6.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, okay. Start of my turn. He's got 2 bodies, a 6 with an overflow underneath, so if I can kill it, that's good. So I push out my Ukomon. I'm at 3 because of Matt. I go to 4 because of Uko. I hatch. and my hand is not very good. But in my head, I'm like, okay, if I can get myself a sleep mode with an Asta underneath, I can probably survive these checks and bring it back on the next turn.
Sure.
So with the egg I hatch off the Yuko, I play a Proto Giz, draw 1, trash 1, gain 1 off mat, play a Giz AT, deleting the Proto, get more draw trash, play another Giz AT, deleting my Uko, draw trash, and then the egg, draw trash. Or, well, this one was the trash 1, draw 2.
Sure.
So I get I think I had my Rage mode in the trash. I had an Astamon in hand, no sleep mode. So I basically, I like play Akihiro, end up giving him like 2 memory or something, maybe 1. I don't know off the top of my head. And I say, all right, your go. So he pushes out his Patamon, picks up his security for its started main effect, goes into the Gatomon, right? Shovels the security, puts it back, starts swinging with stuff. So he swings his Rapidmon -6s, so gets rid of one of my bodies. And I think it lowers security too. Is that right? Some weird like that.
That Rabidmon does so much.
Okay. Yeah, -4, sure. So he -4s with that. He swings with the Metamon, trashes a security to play out another body. It gains rush.
Mm.
He swings with the Gato. The Gato would have died, but he activates barrier. And the flip is, of course, Revelation. So
Of course.
now my board is like completely dead at this point. And he, gets that 4th swing with the, I don't remember what body it was, but he played another body off the Metamon swing. So then I don't even know what he does at this point. He ends his turn. It goes back to my turn 2. No, sorry, my turn 3. End of his turn 2. I have 1 security, no board state. I hatch my egg. I have a mat, so I'm at 3. And I'm just like, there's nothing I can do here.
Sure.
Not without finding my cards. I think I played another Proto Giz.
Yeah.
And I was like, if this is sleep mode, I can give him 6 memory.
Sure.
And hope for the best. But it just didn't get it. So that was the game 2 against him. Fantastic plays on his part. Lots of RNG, I'm not gonna lie. But he definitely got great job to him. He ended up winning out. We'll talk about his list in a little bit.
Yeah. We
Great
got
player.
these deck lists. We'll definitely talk about his list.
So that was a long tangent. Anyway,
Yeah.
Following round 5, so I'm 3-1 at this point. I play against a Leviamon, and I think both of us were just not having great hands.
Yeah.
But he kind of dug out of it a little faster than I did by he would swing his level 5 with the next antibody, go into Levy for 3 checks, and he gave me 6 memory, but I couldn't use it. I just, there was nothing I could do with 6 memory, and I had 1 security left because of a chip check plus this. So game went to him for that. For both game 1 and 2 were very similar.
Yeah.
So then now I'm 3-2, go into round 3, and it was complete brick. I don't even remember the matchup. I scooped super early. I was done. I was defeated. So that was my experience. It was a great day.
Sure.
Started off real strong, had all the luck, had all the, Uko rare Monstarts I could have asked for. But, I just didn't end up being able to close it out. So we'll see
keep
next
playing
time.
like you've been playing, not only just at locals, but every weekend that you've been doing the online events.
Yeah.
You're gonna take it, dude.
Yeah,
I know you
we'll,
are.
We'll get one of these for the fans.
It is for the fans. Shout out to all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm curious. This is something, since I did not play in an online regional or the online Ultimate Cup, I was curious. Is there a difference between them? Did you notice anything? Like level of play, number of participants, people going, for the trying real hard, how anything between.
I think so. This could just be my experience. This could just be, variants of matchups.
Yeah.
But at the regionals, like I said, I played against 2 Numes, 2 red hybrids.
Yeah.
It felt like a more kind of meta day. I don't know if that was a coincidence or not.
Sure.
Because looking at kind of the top results, it probably was a coincidence. As we're at the regionals, I'm still playing against really strong decks, but it's, Shine and Mirage are still very good decks, still, towards
absolutely.
the tops, but they're not that same red hybrid Nume, gauntlet that I had gone through at the regionals. So probably just random chance.
Yeah.
But there was that. All my opponents were fantastic in these events. I've yet to have anyone not be nice and respectful, which is good.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing, about all your recent online play. We like hearing about all that. Let us know in the comments if you've been playing in some of these events. Let us know if crazy decks you've seen, text, whatever. We love hearing about all this stuff. It's always a good time. So after playing in 3 weekends in a row of online events, grinding games like crazy at locals, and listening to last week's episode where Basil's talking about the ban list, that seemed to do really well. People love this topic right now.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on a ban list? What do we need?
Only thing I think is needed is something needs to be done with Ukomon. That card is absolutely insane in every deck it goes in. And I think if they leave it unchecked, they're going to hurt purple. Because right now, purple base into Uko, like Demimera into Uko, into Machine, into even Numemon, Devas, all this other stuff is really insane. So, and then on top of that, you can just put Uko in any deck, and it's a phenomenal card.
Yeah.
I mean,
if only the movie was as good as the card, huh?
Yeah. And I mean, I think something needs to be done about this card. I think it only gets more problematic as we get, better eggs, better, all this other stuff. I mean, I think one of the examples is like, with a Bukamon, it has jamming. One thing I'm considering is for Sakuya, if I just push it out with a Viximon underneath it, that it's just going to sit there and draw me cards all game. I mean, I could see this going in a lot of decks, and it's kind of a little too strong.
Do you have any thoughts about the new Ukomon coming out next set? Like, do you think that's gonna? Do you think that needs to be on the ban list as well, or do you think just one of them is going to be fine?
I think we need to see it. I think it is pros and cons of it, right? So 1 cost Evo, which turn 1 gives your opponent 1, ends the turn, but that's kind of fine 9 times out of 10.
Putting your opponent at 1, right? It's pretty good.
But the fact that it still hatches the egg, so it's still accelerating your breeding phases, which is arguably the stronger point of Ukomon.
Sure.
Over the memory gain, and then it searches for rookies, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
it's like search 3, grab a rookie or something. So it also helps you find the rookies to put there. I don't think it's as insane as the current one.
That's how I feel too.
But I think the bigger problem with it is the accelerating the breeding phases so easily.
Yeah.
Right? Because the only other thing we've seen that does anything like that up till this point has been Mimi.
Yeah.
And it's like you need a level 5 green. Your opponent can prevent you from having a level 5 green for 4 turns in a row. They can't prevent you from putting 4 Ukos straight from your hand into the raising 4 turns in a row. Yeah. Unless they just learn to cut your deck better. I don't know.
Yeah. Unless they figure out like, magician, like cheating with how they
other than that, your deck. Which I mean, the decks that are really abusing it, I think are still strong without it. I think Nume and Red Hybrids are still good decks, especially Red Hybrids is still getting more cards.
Yeah.
So I don't think it being gone wouldn't shake up the meta too much per se.
Sure.
But I think it would make the game a little healthier.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are burned out on seeing this card.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. So interesting. Let us know in the comments what you think. As always, right now we're jumping on the bandwagon. The ban list talk is a hot commodity right now.
We are in talks about Basil coming out with his crazy ban list, and we'll see what he has to say, but maybe we'll do something with that. So stay tuned.
Sure. So, I mean, we're already talking about the new Ukomon that's kind of coming out next set. We're only a couple weeks away from this new set. It's been a long format.
Yeah.
Are you excited for the next set? Do you know anything specific you want to play?
I am very excited for one card in particular.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. I've forgotten like half the reveals for this set.
Sure.
But one card very excited for, and that is the new Cerberusmon. It's probably, I think it's a common. I don't care. It's going in at least 3 decks I already have built, and all 3 of those decks are way better because of it.
Sure. I know I'm excited. You got one deck that I don't want to talk about on the channel because I've been like begging you to get it recorded, but you're so right. Just wait one more set. The deck profile is going to do insane. I know it.
That deck, the one you're thinking of, it's the one I think you're thinking of.
Yeah.
It's playable now. It gets better then.
Exactly.
Same with Minerva Loop. It's going to be a fantastic card in that deck too, which we had a video come out recently, I believe. We'll do an update with kind of some ratio tweaks, but it's really just the new Dober and Cerberus for that.
That's exciting, man. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm ready for the next set. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm going to go crazy into the Sylphie stuff.
Yeah.
And, because I love being the Hawkmon player. Whether or not that deck specifically I'm going to update, maybe, yes, there's some pieces, but I just feel like the Sylphie deck is so good. It does so much. A lot of fun things you can do. All these 2-color cards and the way that this DNA, I love DNA decks. Someone was joking around at locals that my signature card is Chimeramon. I don't disagree with you. I love Chimera's design. I love the card. I love the DNA Digivolution.
If I had to pick a card for Jeff, it'd be a Chimera.
Yeah. So
let us know in the comments what you'd pick for Jesse. We've been talking about what we think it is. He doesn't like our idea. I'm not going to spoil it. See if you guys agree.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comment what you think Jesse's card is.
Jesse's signature card. Let us know in the comments what you think that is. We are not going to spoil what we've been poking fun at him for what it is. But no, I'm excited for the next set. I think all of us are kind of ready for this format to be over.
We have a lot of players at our locals who are kind of considering dropping until the next set.
Just
I
kind
mean,
of, yeah.
It's been kind of stale, and I mean, how many times have we gone to locals and played against 2 new May decks in a row and just been
Yeah.
like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like, this
Yeah.
is a locals, not a regional, you know, but
I agree. Yeah, so we'll get there. It's definitely not doom and gloom on the game of Digimon. We got some awesome stuff
Yeah.
coming up. Today, here in the studio, we have a packed studio. We're recording, I think, 3-4 deck profile videos, recording this podcast. So stay tuned. We got awesome content coming your way. Again, jump in that Discord. Ask us specifically if there's decks you want to see, whatever, because we're ready. We're cruising along. We're making some awesome content, and I can't be more excited about this. But speaking, since we were talking about that Ultimate Cup, maybe we should finally talk about the winners.
yeah, I think we're
Since,
about
we've
time.
been talking about it for a while now. So we'll start off with this first place list, the yellow vaccine that you so lost to in round one.
Yeah, and fantastic player. Not to discredit anything, I am kind of curious about some of these ratios.
Me too.
I don't know this deck well enough.
Again, they won, right? So I can't judge, but,
So in my experience playing against this guy, he saw his Rapid Mon both games. Good on him. That was fantastic card.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I was surprised when I went and looked at this list that it was only a 2 of. I for sure thought it was more. He saw it, and it was good. And so those are kind of like when your opponent sees a card a bunch of times, like once a game,
Yeah.
and it has that much of an impact on the game, you'd think they'd be playing more. But
I
2
agree.
seems to be a sweet spot for him. This Bushi Agumon to me was weird because he put it in his security like 2 or 3 times in those 2 games. And I'm just like, why is I don't know. I don't know why is this in the deck. Do you know?
Well, I mean, the Rush, I think, and Revelation of Light, I think, can play level 4 or lower out of
so
security.
you can play,
so you can
from
play with
security.
Rush.
Okay.
I
okay.
being someone who's played with Bushi Agumon quite a lot with Lord Knight and stuff like that way back in the day, I just love that card. I mean, like, for example, when Guilmon came out, that is just Rush if you have a certain number of cards, but it's a cheaper Rush. Like, I love being able to abuse just a free Rush swing like that.
That makes sense for the Revelation. And he got those in his security, but I never saw them come out.
Yeah.
I think he killed me a little too quickly.
Yeah, and I've been loving the split of this 4 Magna Ace, 4 Angelomon Ace.
Yes, very good.
I
very
think,
good.
Jesse was kind of the first one who brought this to our attention, specifically with, here in our little group, because he's been talking about it in his decks recently. And it's like, oh, you're right. This is doing so much. So, we're not seeing a lot of the same, level 5s that we were before. You'd think running 8 aces would be a detriment, but it did great for the player.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out for him, and those are both fantastic cards. I think the yellow aces are some of the best ones.
For sure.
I think it goes like Zudo, the 2 yellows, and then probably like, I don't even know after that. Those are the really...
Myotis Mones? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Cooking something with it. Stay tuned.
I love that deck.
Unfortunately, not the best.
This is the deck that I specifically asked Jesse to grab. This was the second place, right? The Devas?
Yeah. No, not second.
No, it's not second. Excuse me. I got
It was top 8. All
fourth.
these are.
I want to say fourth. Fourth place. Fourth place Davis. Yes, sorry. It's our second picture on his slide.
Yeah, and so this is kind of what we were talking about with the Demi Mera into Uko, which is fantastic for any deck that wants cards in hand, cards in trash.
Yeah.
One thing I really like about this is the Mega Gargo Ace. I don't know how common that is in Devas, but it is a very good card, and I like to see it.
Well, a lot of the lists when I was first building Devas, starting at the beginning, right, people would go different directions. They'd throw in Leopardmon X because it could play the Devas, right? It could do a lot of fun things. That made a lot of sense. Mega Gargo Ace is obviously very strong. It's so much work, in fact, that they decided to take out Baihumon, the worst of the Devas, and put in the Mega Gargo in that spot.
Yeah,
Sovereigns, not Devas.
I imagine they did some math, and they were like, how many of these do I really need?
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's not like Feng Long specifically needs just the level 6s. No, it can use the 5s effectively, and you don't even need to reduce it. And then the options also count. So having the Ukumon was something that, like, seeing this list in particular, I'm done with D-Reaper as the egg in my deck. And I really did like it, especially like this player likes the 3 Antillamons like I do because of the healing, the alliance, the swing, the big checks, all that stuff. But, and that's part of the main reason I did that. And then, having the freedom with the eggs and stuff like that. But Ukumon gives you so much room with this, especially when you're putting Devas in the raising area. And so I'm a big fan of this list. The 1 ace makes a lot, the 1 merciful mode makes a lot of sense. I really like their split of the Devas themselves. I mean, you could almost make the argument maybe 1 less Endearamon, 1 more of the Makuramon, just because I love the black Devas because of the blocker. But it's a tough call. I mean, 4th place. I'm not going to knock him. That's killer. So congratulations, this player. This is that's probably my favorite list of the Ultimate Cup. Just looking through them real quick. This deck I wanted to talk about because you're a Fenrir player. This
Yeah.
is 6th place. What do you think of this list?
So things I like, I do really like the rookie lineup. 2 Gazis is really good, especially as we mentioned kind of earlier with Fenrir is playing from behind can be a struggle at times.
Sure.
Gazi really helps with that because we're in such a memory gain heavy format.
Yeah.
That if you're playing behind but you can stick a Gazi, it might help buy you a turn or two. The one Feng Mong to me is still interesting. I actually cut all these out of my deck.
Oh, did you?
I kind of wish I still had one of them sometimes.
Yeah.
It is a tech choice, but the card advantage that it provides is unique compared to the other ones
Sure.
in that it's like pick one up, trash one, and you can do some cool things with that. One Black Auto Uber to me didn't seem like enough, but this is actually a pretty strong meta call in retrospect because not a lot of Levy players, I think, anymore.
Yeah.
I think that deck's kind of tapering off a little bit. And with Anubis gone, I mean, Levy's the only time you really need this card. One Chimera doesn't seem like enough.
That's what I was going to ask.
Obviously,
you.
it worked.
That's what I was going to ask you if that was enough.
9 times out of 10, you don't need them. But when you need them bad. That's my take on it.
Sure.
2 ADP. I don't know how he found room. I think he cut a boost.
Not playing 2 Chimeras is how.
So I'm seeing 10 rookies to the typical 9. And I'm seeing a Death X, which is great card, worthy of a slot, but not in every list.
Sure.
And then I'm seeing the 4 training 1 boost. I think most lists are on 4 training 2 boost, and they're usually missed. But Purple Memory Boost is a very strong card.
Yeah.
One thing with this deck, though, is sometimes it's hard to get enough volume in your trash.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of why the Miss Boost is a strong choice for the deck. But I think either way, in the next set we're getting Lugamon Memory Boost, so we'll be good.
Yeah, a lot of new pieces of that. Looking forward to what people do with that. I mean, any deck that tops playing a Tyrannomon, I'm always happy, even if it's just a one of. So it's pretty excited to see that. Great list. I like this one a lot as well.
All right, moving on to this last list.
This is an
one,
interesting. So we're talking 14th place. Excuse me.
Not top 8, but we had to talk about this one.
Yes, we did because we love this deck.
It's a Gabu Bond.
Gabu Bond, baby.
Yeah, Bond of Friendship. We're seeing 4 Ukos, 4 Louis.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes so much sense, right? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then the 2 Sora Joe. So there's a lot of memory gain in this, and a little bit of sword stripping between the Kumas and the Zudos.
It's enough to
Lots
where
of
you're not a
hybrids.
control deck, but you're stopping the things that are stopping you from being aggressive, and I really like that.
So what I'm kind of seeing is Ugomon and hybrids set up early game, and Gabumon finish with 2 copies of Death X to try to help keep you alive.
Yeah, that's sick, man. It's a nasty deck.
It's a good list.
It's
I like
interesting
it.
though with this list. I guess the 5 eggs make sense because of the fact you're playing 4 Ukas
And Louis.
and Louis. So it's like would 4 eggs be enough at that point? But again with the Uka and Louis,
4 Uka, 4 Louis. I think you have to do.
it's like it's like when you play Mimi in a green deck, you generally go to 5 eggs. It's kind of the same ruling, especially with the fact that there's 4 and 4 of that. So that makes a lot of sense. But congratulations to all the Ultimate Cup players, man. I mean, this was awesome. I love having these events back. It's fun to be able to talk about these and, especially like going through the list. There was a lot of Numamons, a lot of Mirage Galgamons. I think I saw 1 red hybrid in the top 16. So a little bit of a diverse meta, but we wanted to highlight these decks because these are the ones that we wanted to talk
there
about.
were 3 Numamons in top 8.
Yeah. So we've been getting some starter deck reveals, and I know they're not your colors because they're not purple, and I guess you've maybe played yellow once or twice. So there's some puppet stuff. The puppet stuff, I'm kind of looking forward to.
Yeah. So the tamer for that is insane, and I think Jessmon's gonna make a big comeback with it.
Yeah.
We'll see if it makes its way into Diaboro. I doubt it. I think they have other rush options. I'm not the expert on that deck.
Yeah.
Don't ask me, but.
It's kind of interesting when you see, because, being Digimon fans, we've played a lot of the games.
Yeah.
We read a lot of the Digimon wikis. We know a lot about Digimon. So when they make new Digimon, I always like to guess what the level 6 is going to look like. And I'm, always wrong. There's no way I could predict it. I'm not an artist, right? So seeing Shumon and then Shushumon, right? Seeing the direction of where it was going into the Little Red Riding Hood for the level 5. And then all of a sudden you get a new waifu for the level 6 with all the puppet control. That's pretty cool line. I like that. And then also seeing both of these starter decks, I didn't realize, I don't think we've had a Pandamon. So they gave us a new Digimon that we've yet to have in the card game. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if there was another Pandamon. Normally, I'm pretty good at remembering, what we have and hadn't had. But I honestly don't remember another Pandamon. So big fan of Pandamon. Good design. You know, you remember starting with Digimon Dawn and Dusk when you get to pick Pandamon as one of your
Yeah,
three.
yeah.
It's he's got that cool little red scarf, so he's just kind of it's fun. But the green one, I'm very excited for.
I know you
so
are.
I had to give some shout out to the yellow stuff, even though I'm probably never going to play it. Even though all the puppet stuff, manipulation, all the cards that are puppets, there's a lot of them, and the EX Tyranno is going to be a lot of fun. But the green one, we get birds out the wazoo. I'm loving it. And then not only that, we get some of my favorite keywords. I love the Vortex. The Fortitude on the Biomon is insane. Again, I would say this is the first time we got a Parrotmon, but we're getting a Parrotmon in a set. And so now we went from 0 Parrotmons to 2 since I started complaining about it. So
Bandai's listening.
clearly Bandai is subscribed and following along. So thank you so much for that. But we also got an Eaglemon as another level 6. That's
Yeah, that one
another
looks really
Digimon
cool.
that we have yet to get. And another green Falcomon. I'm a big fan of that shade of green on the Falcomon. But I love the way the whole line turned out. Terramon, Galemon, Grand Galemon, and then whatever the level 6 is. I always forget his name.
I
But
have no
the
idea.
designs are insane. I'm a big fan. I love them. The weapons that the level 6 holds look like something we would have gotten off Digimon
Yeah,
World
yeah,
4.
yeah.
You know, so it's
I miss
sick.
that game.
Very excited for those starter decks.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think of those starter
Yeah.
decks. I think
I think they're going to be really good.
I have some mixed feelings about them. I'm probably not going to play them.
Well, you're not going to play them, but
I
I
think
also
there's some
think
good cards in there.
I
and
think
some
there's
not
I
so
think there's good cards that you can use in a
think-
lot of
yeah.
different things other than just the Vortex Warriors or whatever the tribe is going to be called. I think Medieval Gallant and Hexablau are associated with that group as well, so it'll be interesting to see. Medieval Gallantmon is already a green red, so technically, but it doesn't
It's
have the
barely a
trade,
card.
right? And it'd be interesting. Like I don't think they'll give us Hexablau in green, but
They could do like a green blue or something.
they could do like a green blue Hexablau, I'm sure. It'd be interesting to see what they give us in the future. We also started getting some rumors about EX7, I believe, that is going to be the manga series for Cross Wars.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's going to be interesting because Lanamon, I always liked playing a Lanamon and Blue Flare because Lanamon was not only a hybrid for game, which sometimes you want, but also Lanamon was part of Blue Flare in the manga. So it'd be interesting to see what else we get, all the fun, crazy combinations. EX sets really do a good job of giving us those like unique one-off, spin-off, like Great
EX
Night
sets are
perfect
always
example.
my favorites.
Yeah.
They're some of the best sets. I'm looking forward more to EX6 than I am to a lot of the sets in between.
Yeah, all the weird Digicross things that, it'd be interesting to see what happens to the old Cross Heart deck. It'd be interesting to see what happens to the Dark Knight deck. It'd be interesting to see what happens to Blue Flare. When we do get all those pieces, what's going to happen? So
Time will tell. Stay tuned to reveals.
let us know what you think in the comments, what you're looking forward to. If there's any obscure scene from a one panel in the Cross Heart manga that you're like, man, I want this one
They
scene
probably
here.
didn't read it, Jeff.
I didn't read it either, but I'm starting to see pieces here and there and stuff. It's hard to find Digimon content sometimes.
It really is. Why do they make
Why
do
do
they
they-
make it so hard?
Honestly, Bandai, you're obviously listening. You gave me a couple Parrotmons. Like, just make Digimon content easier for everyone to have. So, very much looking forward to that. Can't wait to start seeing some of the reveals. We'll start bringing, as soon as we know anything, we'll let you know for sure. You want to do some cards of the week? You haven't done one of these in a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah,
How
so-
about you go first?
You want me to
then?
go first?
Yeah.
So mine is a particular card. So again, we talked about how today's a good studio day. We're recording a bunch of deck profile videos. So this is a deck, Basil, who has the Alliance decks. I've always loved his lists. And seeing the starter deck and stuff, the new Lotmon, that's my card of the week. The starter deck 17.
That's a really
Right.
good card.
I saw this, and so it was like one of those my brain clicked right at the right time because Basil had just shot his Alliance deck, Jesse had just shot his Security Digimon deck, the Clown Car, and then so I was like, how do I give Publomon
How do I shuffle
Alliance
these together?
How do I do this? So I've been having a blast with that Lotmon because now I have 2 awesome turn 1s in that particular deck. That deck profile video is coming soon. Stay tuned. You guys are gonna love it. I know it. To where I can, play a level 3, swing 16 K2 checks,
Makes
swing
sense to
over
me.
bodies. So I've been a huge fan of that Lotmon. It's really been inspiring me to not only make that deck, but to get deeper into the whole Alliance strategy in general. And I think not only that, there's other decks that play that Lotmon extremely well. I mean, it was always unfair where you only had Alliance in green, and then it's like, okay, hey, Fenrir Lugamon gets it. Now you can give it to any color. You just have to play a green level 3. So it's going to be very interesting to see what people do with that in the future. That's my card of the week, man. What do you got?
Mine is going to be something a little weird. It's a card that when I first read it, I was like, I don't think I'll ever play this card.
Sure.
And I'm definitely not playing it in its intended way. That's going to be, I think, BT14 White Tamer Jedi.
Oh, okay.
This is seen a lot in like, Devas and all these other
Yeah.
good decks where it does what it's supposed to.
Mhm.
I put this card in Sakuyamon because I love Sakuyamon. It's one of my favorite
That deck
decks.
is also coming soon, so stay tuned.
Yeah. But the deck has a lot of major weaknesses, and a lot of those are getting covered in the future sets. But in the meantime, I'm trying to make it as good as I possibly can because I love playing it. And one thing that the deck struggles with is if you don't have a Tamer, you can't play your plugins. And if you don't have a Rika, you have to pay memory for your plugins most of the time.
Yep.
Well, Jedi on play, search 5, take a non-white Tamer. It finds Rika and a rookie. And with how many options are in the deck, it also kind of covers that lower.
So you're the
rookie
first
count.
person I've ever heard that used the actual search on that card as intended
that's
and
what I
actually
put it in
get a
for.
good advantage of it.
I put it in
So-
so it goes on play, find my Rika and a rookie if I'm missing them. If I'm not missing them, why would I even play the card to begin with?
Sure.
Additionally, it's just copy 5 and 6 of having a Tamer so that I can play the plugins ignoring color requirements.
Yep.
And then additionally, the second effect, you can push out to Ace. I haven't gotten to use that effect yet,
But you have that option in case you need
but
it.
I have that option. There are Magna Aces in the deck. I haven't used them a single time yet. We'll see.
Yeah.
But that's my card of the week. Not necessarily how it's supposed to be used,
Great choice, man.
but I
Good card.
love
Yeah.
sometimes seeing random tech where they're not supposed to be
Yeah.
and just fun ways like that. So
Well, what a great episode, man. Thank you so much for having us. Again, shout out Jesse for letting us know that we haven't done this combo yet.
Yeah.
So again, jump in the comments, let us know. Join that brand new Discord. We want to hear you guys' thoughts. We love doing this, and we're glad to have you guys around. Until next time.
and send us questions. We will start doing Q&A.